The kitchen was chaos. Flames licked the edges of a pan as smoke curled upward, blurring the bright lights overhead. Everyone's eyes were glued to the countertop, where the simple woman, Maria, stood frozen, her hands trembling. A spilled bowl of sauce glistened like a dark stain on her pristine apron. The clock was ticking mercilessly, only minutes left in the final round of MasterChef. Maria had never imagined she'd be here, not in this flashy, high-pressure world where chefs shouted, orders and knives flashed like lightning. Yet here she was, standing face to face with disaster. Her biggest rival, Olivia, smirked from across the kitchen, her eyes sharp, calculating. The tension between them was thick enough to cut with a knife. But what Maria didn't know was that Olivia's smirk hid something darker, a plan to sabotage Maria's chances and steal the victory right out from under her. The sauce Maria had worked so hard to perfect, the secret recipe passed down from her grandmother, was ruined. The delicate balance of spices was lost in the chaos, and the taste now bitter, almost inedible. Maria's heart sank as the timer beeped. She forced herself to plate the dish, hands shaky but determined. Every eye in the room was on her. Suddenly, the judges began their tasting. The first bites brought silence, then subtle frowns. Maria's stomach twisted. Could this be the end? As the final scores were announced, Maria barely heard them through. The roar of her pounding heart. She was out. Olivia was declared the winner, her smile wide and triumphant. But the real story had only just begun. Maria left the studio that night feeling defeated, the taste of failure bitterer than the ruined sauce. But as she walked through the quiet streets, a strange feeling began to stir, a flicker of something she couldn't ignore. This wasn't just a loss. It was the start of a mystery that would unravel everything she thought she knew about the competition, her rival, and even herself. The next day, Maria received a cryptic message on her phone. Not everything is as it seems. Look closer. Who could it be from? Was it a prank or something more? Determined to find answers, Maria began digging. She watched footage from the final round, analyzing every frame. That's when she noticed it, Olivia's subtle glance toward the spice rack just moments before Maria's sauce was ruined. A glance that didn't belong. What if Olivia had sabotaged her? But how and why? The deeper Maria looked, the more she uncovered a web of secrets and betrayals hidden beneath the glamorous surface of the cooking show. Contestants who whispered in the shadows, strange deliveries to the kitchen, unexplained power outages timed perfectly to cause chaos. Maria realized this wasn't just about a ruined dish. It was about a game much bigger and darker than she had ever imagined. As she followed the trail, Maria met unexpected allies, a former contestant who had mysteriously dropped out after accusing the producers of rigging the show, a kitchen assistant who hinted at hidden cameras and secret meetings, and a food critic whose glowing reviews didn't quite add up. Each piece of the puzzle brought new questions. Who was really running the show behind the scenes? What was Olivia's true motive, and could Maria turn this betrayal into her greatest triumph? With every step, Maria's fear was met with growing determination. She was no longer just a contestant. She was a seeker of truth, fighting not only for her place in the competition, but for justice. By the end of part 1, Maria is caught between suspicion and hope, ready to dive deeper into a world she never wanted to enter but can no longer escape. The sabotage wasn't just a moment of bad luck. It was a challenge she was meant to face, and the real battle was just beginning. The days following her defeat were a whirlwind of emotions. Maria found herself unable to focus on anything else. Her mind replayed every moment in the kitchen, every second of the sabotage that had cost her the prize. Sleep evaded her, replaced by restless thoughts and a burning need to understand. She decided to reach out to other contestants. Carefully, quietly, Some were reluctant, their loyalty to the show making them tight-lipped. But a few were willing to share whispers, stories of strange incidents and unexplained disruptions that went beyond simple competition drama. One name kept coming up: Lucas, the kitchen assistant who seemed to have eyes everywhere. Maria arranged to meet him under the pretense of a casual coffee. When they met, Lucas was nervous but honest. "I've seen things," he confessed. "Cameras in places they shouldn't be. Producers making calls when no one else is watching. And Olivia, she's not just ambitious, she's dangerous." Maria felt a chill. Dangerous? How far would Olivia go to win? Lucas handed her a small USB drive. "Watch this," he said. "You won't believe what's on here." Back at home, Maria plugged in the drive. The screen flickered to life, showing footage from a hidden camera in the spice rack area. There, clear as day, was Olivia slipping a strange powder into the container Maria used. Her heart pounded. This was proof, evidence of sabotage, but why hadn't anyone else seen it? And what was the powder? Determined to find out, Maria contacted a food scientist she knew from her hometown. The scientist analyzed a sample of the powder and revealed it was a substance that would ruin the flavor of any dish instantly. The implications were staggering. Olivia had planned this carefully. The question remained, was she acting alone, or was there a bigger force behind her? As Maria pieced together the evidence, she also reflected on her own journey. A simple woman from a small town, she had never imagined her cooking skills would put her in the spotlight or make her a target. Her family's recipes, passed down through generations, were her pride. But now, those recipes were entangled in a dangerous game. Her resolve hardened. She would not let this injustice stand. Maria decided to confront the producers. She requested a meeting, armed with her evidence and her story. The meeting was tense. The producers denied everything, dismissing her claims as jealousy and sour grapes. But Maria stood firm, her voice steady and strong. "I have proof," she said. "This isn't just about me. It's about the integrity of the competition and the truth." The producers exchanged uneasy glances. What would happen next? Would Maria's courage be enough to expose the sabotage, or would the powerful forces behind the show silence her? Maria's story was no longer just about a cooking contest. It was a battle for truth, justice, and survival in a world where the stakes were higher than anyone had imagined. Her simple life had been turned upside down. But Maria was ready to fight. The moment Maria stepped out of the producer's office, the air felt heavier. Their dismissive smiles and polished denials hadn't shaken her. If anything, they fueled her fire. The truth was out there, hidden beneath layers of lies and carefully crafted illusions, and Maria was determined to find it. Her first step was to strengthen her allies. Lucas had already proven to be a valuable source, but Maria knew she needed more help, people who weren't afraid to speak up and whose voices couldn't be easily ignored. She reached out to Rachel, a former contestant who had left the competition abruptly last season. Rumors said Rachel had exposed some backstage controversies, but was silenced. Maria's call was met with hesitation, but soon Rachel agreed to meet in a quiet cafe, away from prying eyes. Rachel arrived, eyes sharp and cautious. "You're the one stirring the pot," she said with a hint of a smile. "I'm just looking for the truth," Maria replied. Rachel's story unfolded like a thriller. She spoke of producers who manipulated challenges, pressured contestants to create drama, and even altered footage to make certain players look better or worse. The sabotage Maria experienced wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a pattern of corruption. "Olivia's not just a contestant," Rachel warned. "She's part of the system. She's their favorite. They want her to win no matter what." Maria felt the weight of those words. It wasn't just about one competitor cheating. It was a rigged game. Back at home, Maria's phone buzzed relentlessly. Messages from curious friends, worried family, and even some viewers who had started noticing irregularities in the show. The pressure was mounting, but so was Maria's resolve. She decided to go public with part of her findings, carefully sharing select footage and testimonies with a trusted journalist, Michael, who specialized in exposing entertainment scandals. Michael's interest was immediate. "This could blow the lid off the whole thing," he said, "but we have to be careful. These producers have power." Together, they planned a careful release of information, hoping to rally public support without putting Maria in danger. Meanwhile, the competition continued, and Olivia's star seemed to rise even brighter. Maria watched the episodes with a mix of anger and disbelief. Olivia's dishes received praise, and she basked in the limelight, oblivious, or pretending to be, of the growing storm behind the scenes. One evening, Maria received an unexpected call. It was from an anonymous source claiming to have inside information about the sabotage and the show's dark secrets. The voice was distorted, but the message was clear. "If you want the truth, meet me at the old warehouse on 5th Street. Midnight." Maria hesitated. The risk was enormous, but the chance to uncover the full story was too valuable. At midnight, Maria arrived at the warehouse, heart pounding. Shadows danced on the walls as she stepped inside. A figure emerged from the darkness. It was Lucas. "You shouldn't be here alone," he warned. "I need to know," Maria said. Lucas handed her a thick envelope filled with documents, emails, and photos. "This is everything I could gather. It shows the producers' plans, the sabotage orders, even threats made against contestants." Maria's hands trembled as she skimmed the papers. The evidence was overwhelming. It confirmed her worst fears. The competition was manipulated, contestants were pawns, and Olivia was the centerpiece of the producers' scheme. The stakes were higher than ever. Maria knew that going public with this evidence would change everything, but it would also make her a target. She confided in Michael, who prepared to publish the exposé. The article went live the next day, sending shockwaves through the media. Viewers were outraged. Sponsors pulled out. The network scrambled to respond. Olivia's image began to crack as rumors of her involvement spread. Despite the chaos, Maria's focus remained on one goal: finishing what she had started in the competition, not by cheating, but by proving her true skill and resilience. She requested a meeting with the new, independent panel assigned to review the show's integrity. In the meeting, Maria spoke with passion and clarity, presenting her evidence and her story. The panel listened, visibly moved. They promised a thorough investigation and offered Maria a chance to re-enter the competition under fair conditions. As Maria prepared for her return, she reflected on her journey. The fear, the betrayal, the hope. She was no longer the simple woman who had entered the show. She was a fighter, a symbol of courage against injustice. Her family stood by her side, their pride shining through the hardships. The day of her comeback arrived. Cameras rolled, the kitchen buzzed with anticipation, and Maria faced her challenges. Head-on, every dish she prepared was a statement of honesty, skill, and survival. The kitchen had always been Maria's sanctuary, a place where she could escape the noise of the world and focus on the simple joy of cooking. But now, that sanctuary felt like a battlefield. Each burner, each utensil seemed to carry the weight of the secrets she uncovered. Her return to the competition was met with mixed reactions. Some contestants whispered behind her back, suspicious of her sudden reappearance. Others admired her courage, but feared the storm she had stirred. Maria welcomed the challenge. She knew that survival here wasn't just about culinary skills. It was about resilience, trust, and hope. The first challenge of her comeback was brutal. prepare a three-course meal in under an hour, using only mystery ingredients revealed moments before. Maria's hands moved with practiced precision. The heat of the stove, the aroma of fresh herbs, the rhythm of chopping and stirring, it all grounded her. But every moment was shadowed by the question, would the judges see beyond the drama and recognize her true talent? Meanwhile, behind the scenes, the producers struggled to control the fallout. Damage control meetings filled their days. Rumors of replacements, changes to the format, and even cancellation buzzed through the industry. Olivia, once untouchable, faced quiet pressure to step down. But her ambition burned fierce, and she wasn't ready to give up. In a secret conversation, Olivia revealed a different side, a mix of fear and desperation. The sabotage, the favoritism. It wasn't just about winning, it was survival in a ruthless world where only the strongest thrived. Maria's discovery wasn't just a triumph of truth, it was a revelation of the darker human emotions driving everyone in the competition. Back in the kitchen, Maria's dishes began to win the judges' praise. Each plate told a story of struggle and hope. The audience responded, rooting for the underdog who dared to fight back. But the true test was yet to come. As the competition progressed, new mysteries emerged. Strange messages, unexpected alliances, and sudden twists kept Maria and the viewers on edge. One night, after a grueling day, Maria found an envelope slipped under her door. Inside was a photo of her grandmother holding the very recipe that had been sabotaged, and a note, "Your family's legacy is stronger than you think." The message reignited Maria's spirit. The battle was no longer just for a trophy. It was for honor, for legacy, for truth. The kitchen was tense as Maria stepped in for the next round. She had battled more than just flames and chopping boards. She had fought lies, betrayal, and doubt. But now something deeper was stirring beneath the surface, an unexpected twist no one saw coming. Her family's recipe, the very heart of her cooking, was under threat again. This time, not from a rival chef, but from a shadowy figure who seemed determined to keep the secrets buried. It began with a whisper, a late-night phone call that left Maria shaken. "Be careful who you trust," the voice warned. "Not everyone wants the truth to come out." Maria's heart pounded. Was this another threat from the producers, or someone closer to Olivia's camp? Determined to stay ahead, Maria decided to investigate further. She revisited the footage, the documents, and the messages. The pieces were there, but they didn't yet tell the full story. Meanwhile, Olivia's smiles grew thinner. Behind her confident facade was a woman pushed to the edge. Rumors of her desperation spread through. The contestants. Some claimed she was sabotaging others. Others whispered she was planning to quit. Maria couldn't help but wonder, was Olivia a villain or a victim of the system? The competition's new challenge was brutal. Create a dish inspired by a personal memory. Maria chose her grandmother's kitchen, the place where her love for cooking was born. She worked tirelessly, mixing flavors and stories into every bite. The judges were moved, but not all were convinced. Doubts about Maria's return lingered in the air. Then came the twist. During the judging, a shocking accusation surfaced. One of the producers claimed Maria had tampered with ingredients to gain an unfair advantage. The room froze. Maria's world shattered again. How could this be happening? After all she'd been through. Determined to prove her innocence, Maria called on her new allies, Rachel, Lucas, and Michael, to help expose the truth. Together, they dug deeper, uncovering a hidden camera feed showing the producer planting evidence against Maria. The revelation rocked the competition. Viewers were stunned. The network was forced to suspend the producers involved and reopen the investigation. In the chaos, Maria found unexpected support from other contestants. Rivalries softened and a sense of unity grew, but the story wasn't over. As the final rounds approached, a new mystery emerged. A secret recipe book belonging to Maria's grandmother, stolen years ago and now resurfaced in the hands of someone unexpected. The night after the shocking accusation, Maria couldn't sleep. The weight of false betrayal was heavier than any defeat. But giving up was not an option. Her family's name, her dreams, and her dignity were on the line. She met with Rachel and Lucas to strategize. Michael worked on gathering public support. By releasing more evidence and interviews, slowly the tide began to turn. Public opinion shifted in Maria's favor. Calls for justice grew louder. Maria also confronted Olivia directly for the first time since the sabotage. Their conversation was tense but honest. "I never wanted to hurt you," Olivia said, her voice trembling. "I was scared. They pushed me to do things I regret." Maria listened, surprised by Olivia's vulnerability. This wasn't the ruthless enemy she expected. It was a scared woman trapped in a cruel game. The next challenge was tougher than ever. Contestants had to create a fusion dish representing their identity. Maria's dish told a story of resilience, blending flavors from her grandmother's recipes with modern twists. The judges praised her creativity and heart. Then, the unexpected happened. The missing recipe book appeared on the show's set, hidden in a prop closet. It contained not only recipes, but notes revealing secrets about the producers and their manipulation tactics. Maria's discovery was a bombshell, turning the competition upside down. The network promised transparency and fairness moving forward. Maria's courage had changed the game. As the finale approached, Maria stood stronger than ever. The sabotage, the lies, the threats, they had shaped her into a fighter. Her story was no longer just about cooking. It was about survival, truth, and triumph. The grand finale had arrived. Maria stood backstage, heart pounding, the hum of the crowd seeping through the curtains. This moment was more than just a competition. It was the culmination of a journey riddled with betrayal, struggle, and courage. She took a deep breath, letting memories flood her mind. The early sabotage, the secret meetings, the allies who stood by her, and the countless nights spent perfecting her craft. But most of all, she thought of her grandmother, whose recipes were the soul of her cooking and the symbol of everything she fought for. The final challenge was simple, yet profound. Prepare a dish that told the story of one's life. For Maria, it meant blending tradition with transformation, fear with hope, and pain with triumph. Her hands worked with calm precision, infusing each ingredient with meaning. The kitchen became a stage where flavors spoke louder than words. As the judges tasted her creation, Maria watched their faces intently. This was her truth, laid bare in a plate. The head judge smiled softly. "Maria, this is more than food. It's a story of resilience." The audience erupted in applause, the sound washing over Maria like a wave of validation. But the night wasn't. Without tension, Olivia stood beside her, eyes glistening with unshed tears. She stepped forward, voice shaking. "I owe you an apology," Olivia said, "for everything. I lost sight of what mattered." Maria nodded, feeling the weight of forgiveness and the possibility of healing. As the winner was announced, Maria's name rang through the hall. She had done it, not just winning the competition, but reclaiming her dignity and exposing the truth. In the days that followed, Maria used her newfound platform to advocate for fairness and transparency in reality TV. She spoke openly about her experiences, inspiring countless others to stand up against injustice. Reflecting on her journey, Maria realized the greatest lesson was not about winning or losing. It was about holding on to hope, embracing resilience, and believing in the power of truth. Maria's victory night was nothing short of magical. The flashing cameras, the cheers, the trophy gleaming in her hands. It all felt surreal. But beneath The surface was a profound sense of accomplishment, one that transcended the shiny prizes and applause. She remembered the day her journey began, when she was just a simple woman with a dream and a sabotaged recipe. The road had been rough, marked by deception, fear, and moments of deep loneliness. Yet here she was, standing tall, a beacon of hope for those who had ever been wronged. Her story became headline news, featured in magazines, talk shows, and social media platforms worldwide. But Maria was careful not to let fame overshadow her mission. She set up a foundation to help aspiring chefs from underprivileged backgrounds, focusing on transparency and fairness in culinary competitions. Her efforts sparked conversations across the industry, leading to policy changes that protected contestants and encouraged ethical practices. One afternoon, Maria received a letter from her grandmother, sent years ago but only delivered now. It contained a heartfelt message about courage, family, and the importance of staying true to oneself. Maria's eyes welled with tears. She knew that this journey was never just about cooking. It was about honoring the past while forging a better future. The final scene showed Maria teaching a cooking class to a group of young chefs, her smile radiant, her spirit unbroken. As she spoke, she shared the lesson she'd learned. In life, we will face obstacles, some we see, some hidden in shadows, but it's how we respond that defines us. Hold on to your truth, fight for what's right, and never let anyone dim your light. The end.